My dear doctor friends, this is Dr. Jatan from Krishnagar. Welcome to the channel Geo Jatan. Geo stands for Gynecology and Obstetrics. Medical science needs continuous update of knowledge and recent advances. We doctors cannot leave our hospital and go for conferences frequently. YouTube has seen tremendous explosion of knowledge in different fields of science and technology, but not in the field of medicine, including obstetrics and gynecology. So, my dear friends, this is my sincere attempt to bridge the gap. Hope you will definitely like it and it will enrich you. So, my dear doctor friends, my name is Dr. Jatan Kumar Raichoudhury, and today's topic of discussion is hyperandrogenism and polycystic ovary syndrome. I am highly indebted to the textbook of Berek and Novak's Gynecology, Williams Gynecology, Clinical Gynecologic Endocrinology and Infertility, ACOG and RCOG journals. Treatment of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Lifestyle management alone or combined with anti-obesity treatment is the main therapy for overweight and obese PCOS. As the exact etiology of PCO is unknown, all other treatments are symptomatic and specific goal-oriented, except weight control, which takes care of all aspects of the disease. It is seen that only 5 to 10% weight loss gives tremendous improvement in the form of androgenic improvement like reduction of free and total testosterone, adrenal androgen and increased sex hormone binding globulin level, as well as metabolic improvements like improvements in fasting insulin, glucose tolerance, total cholesterol, triglyceride, PI1, free fatty acid, as well as improvement in menstrual function and ovulation. So, the principal treatment remains lifestyle management and weight loss. Dietary management should focus on reducing body weight as well as maintaining it for long-term period. An initial weight loss of 5 to 10% is recommended. Dietary management should be supplemented by structured exercise, behavioral modification and stress management strategies as fundamental components of lifestyle management. Exercise also reduces insulin resistance. Alternative approach to the treatment of obesity includes medicines like Orlistat, Sibutramine or bariatric surgery. This picture is taken from Berek and Novak's Gynecology. It shows guidelines for dietary and lifestyle intervention in polycystic ovarian syndrome. Lifestyle modification is the first form of therapy which combines behavioral, dietary and exercise management. Reduced energy diet, at least 500 to 1000 kilocalorie per day reduction, are effective option for weight loss and can reduce body weight by 7 to 10% over a period of 6 to 12 months. Dietary plans should be nutritionally complete and appropriate for life stage and should aim for less than 30% of calories from fat, less than 10 calories from saturated fat, with increased consumption of fiber, whole grain bread and cereals, fruit and vegetables. Alternative dietary options, increasing the dietary protein, reducing glycemic index, reducing carbohydrate, may be successful for achieving and sustaining a reduced weight, but more research is needed in PCO patients. The structure and support within a weight management program is crucial and may be more important than the dietary composition. Individualization of the program, intensive follow-up, monitoring by a physician and support from the physician, family, spouse and peers will improve the retention of the program. Structured exercise is an important component of weight loss regime and aim for more than 30 minutes per day. Treatment also depends on patient's goal. Some patients may be managed by oral contraceptive pill. Some patients may need ovulation induction. Overall, the effect of anovulation and absence of progesterone should be covered by progesterone to guard the unopposed estrogen. This can be achieved by oral contraceptive pill, ovulation induction, or by second half progestins. The other component of treatment is interruption of the steady state of hyperandrogenism and the control of hirsutism. This should also be done. Oral contraceptives are good choice for PCO management because combined oral contraceptives reduce both ovarian and adrenal androgen production. How? Progestin components suppress LH, thereby diminishing the ovarian androgen production. Estrogen component increases hepatic production of sex hormone binding globulin, thereby diminishing free testosterone. Estrogen also inhibits 5-alpha reductase that decrease conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. Adrenal production of dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate is also reduced. As some of the progestins have got intrinsic androgenicity, so newer progestins with low androgenicity will be the choice, like desogestrel, gestodin, norgestimate and drospirenone. However, clinical difference is not significant. It has to be kept in mind that OCs can exacerbate insulin resistance. OCs alone are less effective for hirsutism, so needs co-administration of another agent that blocks the androgen action. Drospirenone is a 4th generation progesterone with anti-mineralocorticoid and anti-androgenic action. So amongst all these 4 progestins, drospirenone is a better choice because OC pill containing drospirenone, that means E2 30 microgram and drospirenone 3 milligram, is preferred as it ameliorates hyperandrogenic skin problem as well as it controls weight gain also. Medroxyprogesterone acetate, either oral or intramuscular medroxyprogesterone acetate, is effective but not so popular in treating hirsutism. It decreases GnRH production and release of gonadotropins, thereby reducing the ovarian testosterone and estrogen production. Dose is 20 to 40 mg orally daily or 150 mg IM every 6 weeks to 3 months. Side effect includes amenorrhea, bone loss, depression and fluid retention. In women who do not have hirsutism and who do not want to take oral contraceptive pills, medroxyprogesterone acetate 10 mg twice daily for 5 days or once daily for 10 days in a month can regularize periods and thereby allay anxiety of the patient as well as prevent endometrial cancer. So in non-hirsute adolescent girl, it may be a very good choice when she is suffering from oligomenorrhea or amenorrhea. GnRH agonist in the treatment of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now when GnRH agonist is administered, it produces an initial flare and ultimately it suppresses the gonadotropins and so also the ovarian steroids to castrate level. So addition of oral contraceptive may be needed and it prevents bone loss, hot flush and genital atrophy, but does not interfere with the effect of GnRH agonist on hirsutism. Leuprolide acetate 3.75 mg every 28 days may be used. And GnRH agonist helps differentiating the androgen production by adrenal from ovary. Glucocorticoids also may be necessary in some cases. Dexamethasone suppresses the adrenal androgens and may be used for obese PCOs with adrenal or mixed adrenal and ovarian androgen production. What is the dose? 0.25 milligram at night or every other night may be useful to suppress dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate below 400 microgram per deciliter. Higher dose may cause adrenal suppression and Cushing syndrome like features. So morning serum cortisol is to be maintained at more than 2 microgram per deciliter. Other than oral contraceptive pills, the next category of drug that is mostly used in the treatment of polycystic ovarian syndrome with hyperandrogenism and hirsutism are anti-androgens. Ketoconazole. Ketoconazole is rarely used because of the serious risk of adrenal suppression. It inhibits the key steroidogenic cytochromes. A low dose of 200 mg per day is effective. Spironolactone. Basically, it is an aldosterone antagonist. It acts on aldosterone receptor of distal tubule. It is a potassium-sparing diuretic used in hypertension. The mechanism of action as an anti-androgen is as follows. Competitive inhibitor of dihydrotestosterone at the intracellular receptor level. Suppression of testosterone synthesis by inhibiting the CYP enzymes. Increased peripheral conversion of testosterone to estrone and inhibition of 5-alpha reductase activity. 70 to 80% patients show modest improvement in hirsutism with 100 mg dose for 6 months. Dose usually varies from 50 to 100 mg twice daily. Combination therapy with oral contraceptives are effective because of their differing but synergistic activity. Most common side effect is menstrual irregularity, and because it increases serum potassium, so not recommended in cases of renal insufficiency. Cyproterone acetate. It is a synthetic progestin derived from 17-hydroxyprogesterone with potent anti-androgenic effect. It is a competitive inhibitor of testosterone and dihydrotestosterone at the level of androgen receptor. It induces hepatic enzymes that increase the metabolic clearance of androgens, and it has mild glucocorticoid activity and may reduce the dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate level. A combination of ethinyl estradiol with cyproterone acetate used as a reverse sequential regime. Cyproterone acetate 100 mg per day on day 5 to 15 and ethinyl estradiol 30 to 50 mg per day on day 5 to 26, which is called reverse sequential regime. It allows contraception, regular mens and control of even severe hirsutism. Side effect includes weight gain, decreased libido and menstrual irregularity. Cyproterone acetate is not approved by US FDA because of its association with liver tumor in dogs. To get the dual benefit of oral contraceptive pill and anti-androgen, a combination of ethinyl estradiol 35 microgram and cyproterone acetate 2 mg, also known as cocyprindiol in a 21-day pill, is effectively used in Europe and some other countries including India to control hirsutism. Here, cyproterone acetate acts both as progesterone and anti-androgen. However, considering the dose of 2 mg only, it may take 6 to 12 months for effective control of seborrhea, acne and hirsutism. Flutamide. It is a weak non-steroidal anti-androgen. It inhibits the receptor binding of androgen and testosterone biosynthesis. It is used in advanced prostatic cancer. Significant improvement of hirsutism noted after treatment for 8 months with flutamide plus low-dose OC pills. Side effects include dry skin, hot flash, decreased libido, blue-green discoloration of urine, liver toxicity and breast tenderness. Now the combination of low-dose OC containing drospirenone metformin 850 mg per day and low-dose flutamide 62.5 mg per day is effective in reducing excess fat in young women with hyperinsulinemic PCOS. But because of its hepatic toxicity, it is not a first-line therapy, and if used, lowest effective dose is to be given. Finasteride. It is a specific inhibitor of type 2 5-alpha reductase enzyme, and it is recommended for benign prostatic hyperplasia at a 5 mg dose and male pattern baldness at 1 mg dose. Finasteride at a 7.5 mg dose for 6 months results in a significant improvement in hirsutism, similar to 100 mg spironolactone. Pregnancy is contraindicated, and so contraception needed with all anti-androgens because of the risk of virilization of female fetus. So oral contraceptives in combination with finasterides are to be used and are more effective than finasteride alone. Other treatments for acne and hirsutism. For acne, oral antibiotics like doxycycline, minocycline and erythromycin, or topical 1% clindamycin lotion or 2% erythromycin gel, or topical isotretinoin retinoic acid for intractable acne, but it is teratogenic, topical benzoyl peroxide. Now for hirsutism, hair removal by depilation, that means removing above skin surface by shaving and chemical depilation, or epilation, that means removing the entire hair shaft and root by plucking, waxing, or the very popular cosmetic therapy including electrolysis and laser treatment. Apart from oral contraceptives and anti-androgens, the next category of drugs which are very popular in polycystic ovarian diseases are insulin sensitizers. Metformin. It is an oral biguanide extensively used in type 2 diabetes. It has no known teratogenic effect in pregnancy. It is a category B drug, and it is given in a dose of 500 mg thrice daily or 850 mg twice daily. And usually it is started with a very low dose. It lowers blood glucose by inhibiting the hepatic glucose production and by enhancing the peripheral glucose uptake by enhancing the insulin sensitivity at post-receptor level. Apart from controlling the blood sugar, it also reduces the androgen level and increases the sex hormone binding globulin level. Side effects are nausea, vomiting, dyspepsia and rarely lactic acidosis. Should not be a regular drug, better restricted to patients with clinical insulin resistance like obesity, acanthosis nigricans and impaired glucose tolerance. For metformin intolerance, other insulin sensitizers like pioglitazone 30 mg per day or D-chiroinositol and myoinositol, which is a post-receptor insulin sensitizer and intracellular mediator of insulin action, in a dose of 2 gram twice daily may also be used. As PCO patients suffer from anovulation, so ovulation induction is an important treatment for these patients. Considering obesity, insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, hyperandrogenism in PCO, the primary intervention should always be weight loss. And a large group of patients will respond to weight loss alone with spontaneous ovulation and conception. In those who do not respond to weight loss alone or unable to lose weight, and where the ovulation induction drug alone is ineffective, addition of an insulin sensitizer promotes ovulation without resorting to gonadotrophins. Metformin has been extensively used to treat oligovulatory infertility, insulin resistance and hyperandrogenism in PCOS, either alone or in combination with dietary restriction, clomiphene-cited letrozole and gonadotrophins. Metformin alone can increase ovulatory rate in PCOS. However, ovulation induction drugs, cis-letrozole, are much more effective. The combination of metformin and letrozole has been seen to be as effective as comparable to gonadotropins in CC-resistant PCO cases. Women with higher baseline AMH requires higher dose of CC-letrozole to achieve ovulation, suggesting AMH level to be a marker of ovarian resistance to ovulation induction. Potential complication of ovulation induction like hyperstimulation and multiple pregnancy are more common with CC than letrozole. Contraindication include pregnancy, ovarian cyst and liver disease. General complications are rare, which include hot flash and visual changes. As clomiphene leads to thinner endometrium than letrozole, probably letrozole appears to improve pregnancy rate in PCO compared to CC as seen in meta-analysis. CC given as 50 mg or 100 mg while letrozole is given as 2.5 mg or 5 mg daily for 5 days beginning on day 2 or day 3. Cycle monitoring may be done by mid-cycle urinary LH to assess the hormonal signal for ovulation or mid-luteal progesterone. Ultrasonography with follicle monitoring is the most helpful as it allows addition of gonadotropin, addition of HCG if used for ovulation induction, as well as timing of IUI if it is planned. In addition, endometrial thickness, appearance, vascularity gives extra information about the uterine factor. In general, gonadotropins are administered at a dose of 37 to 150 IU per day by subcutaneous route for 3 to 5 days, followed by estradiol and follicle monitoring, and then continued for 7 to 12 days. Ovulation is triggered by subcutaneous HCG 5000 to 10,000 IU when the dominant follicle reaches 20 mm. Ovulation occurs 38 to 40 hours after the HCG administration, and luteal support is provided by progesterone supplementation. The two major complications of ovulation with gonadotropins are multiple pregnancy 10% to 30% and ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. Both the two complications can be reduced by careful cycle monitoring. Cycles complicated by numerous follicle recruitment or by high estradiol levels may be cancelled by withholding the ovulatory dose of HCG. Selected patients may be converted safely to in vitro fertilization. PCO patients suffer from increased incidence of spontaneous abortion than general population. Women with early pregnancy loss is associated with low insulin-like growth factor binding protein 1 and circulating glycodelin. They have got immunomodulatory effect protecting the developing fetus. So metformin increases both the two factors. Addition of metformin with any ovulation induction procedure may be beneficial to reduce cases of spontaneous abortions. However, no conclusive data available till now to support this. The incidence of ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome common in PCOS may be reduced with concomitant metformin therapy. Side effect of metformin, already it is discussed, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, flatulence, and it may cause fetal lactic acidosis in cases of diabetes and renal insufficiency. So baseline renal function test has to be done and metformin is to be avoided with increased creatinine level. Laparoscopic electrocautery, drilling. It is used as an alternative to wedge resection in patients with severe PCOS resistant to clomiphene. The original wedge resection done by Stein and Leventhal is no longer used nowadays because of periovarian adhesion and early ovarian failure. The number and depth of puncture and power and duration of energy use varies. 100 watt cutting current for entry and 40 watt coagulation current applied for 2 seconds with 8 mm needle inside ovary for 10 to 15 sites in each ovary may be reasonable, or there is a special formula, that is formula 4. Most series report a decrease of androgen and LH concentration with increase of FSH level, and the benefit may last up to 9 years. alternative medical procedures are more popular because of the risk of adhesion and fall of AMH. Thank you for your patient watching. If you like the video, please subscribe. Namaste.